The grid when we look at Tom, so the lights are already on, getting ready to start this first race of the season, and they all get underway. Does anyone use the boost off the start? Matt Davis has used the boost off the start, so sorry, it's gone to orange, you can see. It's not really gained him much of an advantage though by the looks of it, so Matt Davis, that figure has now gone to blue, so it's in the cooling off period. Still swamped down in 7th place, so it's a nice clean start from everyone. Oh, until a little bit of contact there, so I wasn't completely sure what happened. I saw Dave was sideways after some contact as Ross Parker looks at John Walker there. Harrison lost out the worst though, Harrison at the back of the grid in that Fulton Motorsport car, but we'll just jump back to the leaders then. Paul already electing to use a boost, so Paul is looking at trying to break this pack. Matt is staying with him without using one there. As we say, the boost, it does give them a little bit of an advantage, but it isn't like Knight Rider's turbo, so let's put it that way. As I go on to start lap 2, so deep on the brakes from Matt Johnston there. Gets the car stopped though. Also a good battle in the background as well. Looks like Ben Hanks has made a place up on Ross Parker as we just stick with these guys for the moment. Just see whether Paul and Matt can show that pace advantage that they had in the practice in the quali session. Not a lot, just a couple tenths, but if they work together they might be able to just stretch this pack out a little bit. It is difficult around Tsukuba though, such a tight, twisty, short circuit. Most of these guys were very familiar with it as well, so there's not really any slow drivers. As Rob Fowler that time round has used the boost, so you can see a few of the guys are just starting to use their boost. So Tom was getting close to the back of Rob Fowler there, so maybe look to see them. There's a good battle at the back as well. Ross Parker, Harrison and Ben. You see Ben in his Pink Pig inspired livery. Done a great job of it, to be fair. See all the different cuts and stuff all over that car as it goes wide there, so Harrison might have a look. Not quite at the moment. I think it's about the outside. He'll try and cut it onto the apex, but Ben has that covered off nicely. And they both get on the deployment early, so it should be a stalemate down that straight again. Just come back to the leading group. So going really wide, using all the track and then some. So yeah, Paul used 2 of those deployments. Matt just used the 1 so far. Matt using all of the track and then some of the grass as well. He's really, really pushing. Not an easy place to overtake this as well. Just the nature of the circuit. It's pretty much one line. So you guarantee, if I can speak, you are banking on the driver in front of you making a little mistake to give you that opportunity. Oh, as Rob Fowler is so close to hitting the back of Matt Johnston there, he gets away with it. He gets onto the boost as well. Tom not using his so far, so Tom is saving all his boosts up. He's going to go for a late assault, I think, on this. I think whilst he's still with that pack, he's probably looking at just saving them, deploying it later in the race when the other guys can't defend from it so much. with the way that we do have it set, there isn't like one boost per lap, etc. These guys can use the boost as much as they want. The only stipulation is it's got that 10-second cooling down period, but it should be enough for them to get at least a couple presses in per lap, you would say. We'll have to wait and see when Tom does decide to start using that. In fact, he does there, so he got a good drive, I think, coming off that corner. He's used the boost, it should bring him closer. You can see on the timer it's definitely closing in. There was a tenth or so there. Rob being helped by the slipstream a little bit, but Tom right on that bumper is going to go slightly wide. It's within a couple tenths. He might have a look. He thinks about it. He sends the nose, has a sneaky snifter. Does not commit to it at the moment, but they're getting closer. Oh, it's John Walker going wide in the background there, and that's going to let Ross through, is it? Ross is going to be side by side. John leaves him all the space in the world, but John is clear going into this next left-hand hairpin. Goes slightly wide in the middle of the corner, but does manage to bring it back enough on line to save that position. So John holds on for now. Having a good battle, these guys at the back. They're staying nice and close, that 8th to 11th. John again wide at the early part, but should get the car turned and get some good drive off it. And he is using those push to passes. Ross has not used any yet. I don't know if he hasn't mapped a button or not, but yeah, Ross still got the 12, so I think he needs to remind him possibly that he does have them available. Well, let's just come back. Oh, Tom looks like he's got a good drive off of there. Will he have a go? Not alongside North. He's going to try and get a switch back on here. Power nice and early. Certainly applying that pressure to Rob. Rob holding out for now. I think it's a matter of time before Tom does think about sending one down the inside. He's on that button again. He's ever so close. He's 2 tenths behind. He's definitely going to have a chance here. He does, he goes, he takes that inside line. Late on the brakes, Rob hangs it round the outside. Tom is alongside still, so just Rob leaves him that room. I was going to say Rob was just in front, he was kind of left in the room. Tom's going to run him out wide, but he does leave him enough space, leaves him that car's width, so these guys still side by side as they go into the next corner. Tom again is going to try and hang it around the outside this time, so Rob's got that really tight line. Oh, he just got enough momentum out the corner. I wondered if Tom would have the advantage coming out of it, but Rob was just able to keep that momentum going. Tom again looking for the outside. He's going to switch back. He'll get on that power button, and I would imagine Rob will at the same time. No, Rob elects not to, so Rob is saving it, and Tom is closer than ever this time as they come onto this straight. Surely going to get the move done this time. Pulls out, they're alongside again. Tom is further alongside, I want to say. It's going to be a repeat of the last lap. He's come across the start finish line. Rob again. Leaving there, Tom will run him wide. I know he will, there he goes. Got all the right to. Rob's still there though, still hanging on. These guys side by side. All this time, nigh on 2 laps. Give or take a couple of corners, and Tom will get the overlap this time. He will be down the inside. He's going to force Rob wide. He does, gives him a nudge. Rob will not give this up, and Tom has eventually got through, so it was a good move, good driving from both cars there. A little bit of door rubbing, but it's what we like in these cars. Nothing unfair with that. So Tom utilised that push to pass. He's using it again, just trying to make sure that Rob can't dive straight back at him at the end of this straight. Rob certainly thought about it, using the power himself. Has he actually got the momentum coming through the last corner? Look, Tom having to defend. He's taking that inside line. Rob trying to go the long way round, but Tom just holding him off for now. Probably just going to need to keep defending for the rest of this race. He's going into the hairpin. Tom's gone wide. Going to have to try and get on the power as soon as he can. Rob looking to go the long way round again. He should have the advantage in the next left-hander, but Tom will have the inside line for the hairpin as Matt Johnston's getting ever closer to Paul as well. Tom got that inside line. It's not necessarily the most favourable line. Rob should have had a good drive out of that last corner. Tom using the power again, but the slipstream is keeping Rob in it. Rob's looking for that inside line. He tries to stick the nose down. Tom leaves him the room. He's going to go wide. He's just about going to keep it on the green AstroTurf on the outside. Going the long way round again, and Stephen Paul is creeping into this battle whilst these two are just swapping paint and swapping position lap after lap. It has allowed that group behind him. So here comes Stephen Paul, here's Matt Davis and Dave Rose. And Rob Fowler has got through again. There was a little bit of door banging again. And they're right back into the clutch to this group, so we might possibly see some more changes here. Past both these guys, they keep squabbling. Here comes Stephen Paul sticking the nose down. He thinks the better of it though, just backs out at the right time. They all go slightly wide. All starting to use up their push to pass buttons, boosts. Just the one left for Stephen Paul and Matt Davis at the moment. Steve goes wide through the last corner there. Just about manages to gather it back up again. Excellent racing from these guys. There's Matt Davis having a look down the inside. He's thinking of that move. He's almost got past. No, he's not. He's had to tuck back in, so... as he goes wide there, probably just trying to avoid a little bit. Should have good run out the corner here, so he might have a chance. No, he thinks better of it. Just lost a couple of car lengths to Rob and Tom whilst they continue their battle. We'll just have a quick look at the leaders. Don't want to miss any of the battles, but here we are. There's Matt Johnston having a look again. He's been on the boost that lap. Nearly gets it down that inside. But he's right on the back of Paul. He's using all of the circuit and then some again. Just braking. They're absolutely glued together. Both got 2 boosts left, so they've got 2 laps left with 2 boosts each, so could not be any closer, and it's absolutely even, Steven, with everything. Should just say as well, it's a fixed setup for this series, so there's no advantage gained. This is all down to the guys just getting the best out of the cars that they can. The only thing that can change is tyre pressures. They do have push to pass Ash because we've modified it, so they don't normally. The original car doesn't, but there's a bit of an added sort of, what do you want to call it? Like just to try and aid overtaking, really, just as a bit of an aid to help with the series. We just thought we'd add it on, and well, it's doing a great job so far as they go on to this last lap. So Paul's slightly wide actually, so that does give Matt Johnson a chance. Has he got the overlap? He is slightly alongside. No, his nose not quite there alongside. Will go this time. He's going to go the long way round, or he's certainly going to try it. Paul defends as much as he can. Manages to get it back online again. Just got a few more corners to go. It looks like the battle behind has just settled a little bit. The race is on for the window, and Matt Johnston goes deep into the corner. He might have a good run on the exit though. They're both going to use the power. Okay, so the number 1 has disappeared, but I would imagine they're both on it. So Matt Johnston is actually slightly ahead as they come into the final corner. Paul does have the inside line. He He should have the advantage. Can Matt drive it right the way around the outside? I don't think he will. It's going to be close though. Crossed the line. 0.045. Absolutely brilliant finish. Really, really close between them two. Excellent race. Excellent race all round. So Matt Davis managed to get himself up past Stephen Pole. They finished in front of Dave Rose. John Walker is in 8th in front of Harrison, Ross Parker, Ben Hanks. Lost out eventually, so Ben Hanks unfortunately a couple of seconds off the back of the pack, so hoping that there was nothing untoward to cause that. But yeah, excellent race up at the front as we get ready. So the lights are about to come on. Here they come. Get ready for the start. And it's looking like a nice clean getaway from everyone. John Walker, Ross Parker and Harrison all try to use the deployment straight away. Get themselves into that pack, but looking nice and clean so far as they come out of turn 1. Matt Davis with a much better start this time round. He's got himself alongside Tom at the moment. Just come to a little bit better. That's a better camera set. There we are. So Matt Davis has made that move stick as well. So Tom losing a place at the start of this one. He's going to be keen to get back past as soon as he can. Matt Davis normally a fast driver. Probably not up to his... Oh, there's a little bump from Stephen Pole in the back of Tom there. Tom able to recover though. Thankfully the front wheel drive cars saving them. Able to just mash the throttle a bit and get the car back in line. So Matt Davis used a push to pass early there. It might be the reason he went slightly wide. Just going into that final corner. Needs to try and stick with Rob and the rest of the guys at the front if he can. Paul again electing to use a push to pass early. As you see, Dave Rose has made a move on Stephen Pole as well. So I think Steve went wide into turn 1. I did see a car go wide, and that is Dave up in position again, but he himself goes wide. So Steve looking to get that position back straight away. Not quite going to be able to do it at the moment. No, he has to slot in behind as Dave parks it, but he is looking towards the hairpin. Is he going to send it? No. No, he is just going to stick behind. Maybe a little bit of a tap just to get themselves going again. They're all on that boost button. Going onto the straights. They've all sort of negated each other at the moment. Everything fairly settled towards the back. See Tom looking to make a move. Matt Davis has used another one of his boosts. He switches for a late defence on that inside line. Tom trying to go that long way round. Not able to make any impression this time through. Got to be careful though. Can't be squabbling too much back here. Otherwise they will let Paul and Matt Johnston run away with it. It's a difficult place to overtake. You can get alongside at times, as we saw in that first one with Tom and Rob so brilliantly for a few laps. Oh, as Tom sent a late one down the inside, the door was open and Eve took it, so they forced each other off the circuit in the end. But yeah, there was a gap and Tom doesn't need a second invitation. He sent it down the inside, got it stopped on that apex, and gets himself through back into 4th place, so he's back where he started. Used a push to pass on that straight as well, so just trying to get himself back onto the rear bumper of Rob. It's not going to be difficult if Rob keeps drifting wide like that. Just trying to cling on to the leading 2 drivers here at the moment. Into probably turn 4, that's classed as given the chicane as well. Already on that 4 of 14. It's absolutely flying by this race so far. Line of sight, Matt Johnston still not used any of his boosts so far. Whereas Paul's used that one, but as we saw in the last race, it didn't affect Paul. He was able to defend Tom already looking to make that move on Rob. Did he actually get the nose down the inside? I think he has. He's got himself alongside. He's trying to get this done early. Rob hanging it around the outside again. It's a good lap time from Tom. 1 minute 1:0. And through he goes. He got the move done. So, can Tom do anything about the two guys in front of him? He needs Rob to just try and follow him for a few laps and stay in a train. We shall wait and see. Oh, front two guys are just breaking away ever so slightly each lap again. Just like we saw in race 1. Oh, it was Rob late as always on the brakes. Drift wide, so he's not had the greatest of corners there. He's used the turbo on the exit, and you see Tom weaving on the straight, trying to break that toe and make sure he doesn't gain any further advantage. Has put Tom in a good position now. He's got an extra boost to use. And again, with a 1 minute 1 flat. Come on, Dave Rose. Oh, we'll have a look at Dave, shall we? Just as we say that, he's battling with Stephen Pole. He's going to try and go round the outside, is he, into the hairpin. Maybe make that switch back. No, he has to tuck back in again. Dave having a good night so far. As he goes across the grass, so he does realise it's tarmac and not rally crossing. Dust kicked up on the car now, so yeah, just falling back into line. Will he use a push to pass? He doesn't. Stephen in front of him has, so he's not going to gain on him this time round. We'll just come back up the grid as Tom is clawing his way back. It's another 10th he's gained on that lap, so just edging himself closer and closer. Gap was at about 1.5. It's 1.2 now. I did see a second on that leaderboard not long ago, so yeah, look, you're just creeping under a second, and then on the exit obviously it's extending out again. There he is, slowly creeping his way back towards Matt and Paul Hayo up at the front of this race. Will he have time to get himself in that battle though? Remains to be seen. We're just at sort of the halfway distance now. I think everyone else is more or less settled down. Dave Rose has used a turbo boost on that back straight to close up on Steve. He will have the inside line. Steve's got that wrong on the exit, so he's gone wide. He's lost his momentum, and that'll be Dave through into the hairpin as long as he gets it stopped, which he does. And that is Dave Rose through up into 6th place. And now he's got just over a second gap to make up on that. Now he goes wide again. But he is able to get that car back onto the line and keep that position for now. Just come back to this leading group. There's Tom again. It's under a second now. He's getting there. He's used the turbo push to pass button on this time round. So it is one thing. He's going to be going to use it to get himself up to that pack, but then he's not going to be able to use it to try and actually attack these guys. So when he does get there, he's going to have to try and be brave with some of his moves if he can. Oh, he's late on the brakes. They're all late on the brakes, but he got it stopped. I think it was the fastest lap that time round for Tom as well. Minute 0.8. Rob Fowler not falling away either. He's not too far off with the back of Tom. There's those few car lengths, about a second on the time board. But it won't take much. If there was any sort of contact or any squabbling with these guys, they will be right with them. Tom, half second there. So Matt Johnston's using one of his boosts now. So the gap is half a second between all these guys. You can see it on that board. All pushing absolutely flat out. I think it is just going to take a mistake from one of these guys, or just a super late move. Paul not looking too flustered, has to be said. Used to leading these races. Very rarely makes mistakes. Managed to sustain all the pressure in that race one as well from Matt. Even when they were side by side. So I'll go into the hairpin there. Will anyone use that boost? Matt Johnston has used it, and so has Paul, so those two will have an advantage over Tom. Coming down the straight, should just see that gap probably increase a little bit. Didn't increase too much actually. So this may be things that we can tweak in that as well. Moving on through the series, maybe make the boost just that little bit more effective. Definitely does gain an advantage, but yeah, maybe just to help that little bit further, we can tweak it. But that's to discuss with the drivers after this evening's meeting. We're on lap 11, so we've only got a few laps left now to go. Gap just sort of stabilised between these guys. It's all about half a second. Everyone else is pretty much broken apart. The closest other battle is Ross Parker and Harrison. It's this battle here. Most people are using their boosts on that back straight as well, so not seeing the sort of moves and side-by-side battles we saw in race one. As Ross goes really wide, he's just about kept that on the circuit, but Harrison will have a clear run through. And he does, he goes through on the inside. Will Ross try and attack immediately? Certainly thought about it. Yeah, big mistake from Ross there, and that has just allowed Harrison to get through. Down that inside. He's just going to try and escape now if he can. We'll just come back to this leading trio. Tom electing to use, well, they've all elected to use their push to pass this time round. All kind of using it just to sort of stay within those few tenths of each other at the moment. It's not really panned out that anyone's really able to defend or attack with it. It's just kind of stabilising it, if more than anything. Let's go into the penultimate lap. So Matt Johnson just got that one left, so whether he elects to use it on this lap or the next lap, we'll have to wait and see. Both Tom and Paul have the option to use it on these next two laps. So Tom's actually done a really good job here. We saw earlier in the race he was using that extra boost to try and get himself back onto this leading pack, or the leading two drivers. He's managed to do that, and then he's managed to save some as well for these last two laps, so he's done a really good job of giving himself a chance at maybe trying to nick a position. Yeah, it does look like Ross is struggling a little bit with some of the guys a bit further down. Oh, you're right. Come on to the start, finish straight then for the final lap. Will we see any last lap heroics? Matt Johnson doesn't have any of the push to pass boosts left, so Paul is using one out of turn one actually, so just making sure he's got that bit of a gap coming into the hairpin there. One of the overtaking spots you would imagine normally. He's got to cool down through this next section, but it shouldn't matter because it's all going to be about this next corner and the straight. So Matt Johnston desperately looking for a move. So close to the rear bumper of Paul there, but Paul will get the drive out of here. He will use the extra horsepower that he gets, and that should keep him safe. Tom is also trying to get himself up, goes for a late move, keeps it nice and tight on the apex. These guys will come home, line astern, so that's it. 1, 2, 3 across the line as quick as you like. Rob Fowler in fourth, Matt Davis, Dave Rose, Stephen Poll. If I can get the camera to stop, sorry, that's not worked. Pressed the wrong one. Just trying to get it to stop on the line, so we can see everyone come through. So that's it, everyone's through already. Yeah, really quick. So Ben unlucky again at the back, just less than a second off the back of John Walker. So maybe not quite what we saw in terms of racing in that first race, but still a good, interesting race all the way through. Tom did ever so well overall in that race, down to 5th off the start, and managed to claw his way back to 3rd and then catch those leading 2 drivers. So that'll give him confidence for this final race when we've got a reverse grid and the top 10 drivers. So Ben's going to be a little upset because it misses out by 1 place, which is usual for Ben. So here we go then, 10 seconds before lights out in this reverse grid, race 3. Dixie horns blaring out as we get ready to go. Who will get the best start? Looked like a good start from Ross actually there. He's decided to use his deployment of push to pass, so does he get him alongside? He will be alongside, and I think he will be past Harrison here. So Harrison had a bit of a mare through turn 1, and that is Ross through, and there's going to be a couple other cars. Harrison got that completely wrong. He's on the grass and he's taken John Walker out into the barriers. Tom's had a collision as well there. There was a bit of door banging somewhere and Tom ended up sideways. So Tom's got it all to do again. There's Ben Hanks has ended up back at the grid again. So I think there's been an issue for Ben as Tom sends it down the inside. A little bit of contact with Matt Johnston there, and he's gone through. Comes streaking down the straight towards the last corner, and that is Tom up behind Dave Rose in the Oreo car now, probably looking to make an early move. If he does, he's going to get the car stopped. Dave hanging it round the outside though for now, not giving up on that position yet. It goes across the grass. Tom sticking on that outside line, should get some good drive out of here. He does, and he will have that inside line from the next corner. Probably will be able to get the move done as Matt Johnston looks to make a move at the same time, but Dave covers that off. So that is Tom into 6th place and behind Paul. Here comes Matt Johnston. Don't think Dave's going to allow that, not if he can help it. So they will go side by side down the straight. Dave using that extra boost to keep himself alongside. Going to force Matt the long way round. Gives him plenty of room and plenty of respect. We go into turn 1 again. There's a great battle up front as well. Dave covers that off, so we'll just come and have a look at this. So Ross Parker defending for his life, allowing Stephen Poll to get away. There's Matt Davis. Oh, that was a little bit cheeky that as well. I think Ross maybe got it wrong on the brakes. He turned across into Matt Davis. Oh, as Paul's made his way past Rob Fowler, and here comes Tom as well. Tom desperately trying to make that move as Rob just gives him a little tap. Says, no you don't. And Matt Johnston, as always, looking to take full advantage as he goes sideways. There was a little bit of contact as Tom forces him off the road. Oh, and Harrison's had a slight knock with Ben. They've recovered it there. So, yeah, all that sort of stem. Oh, and Dave makes that move stick back down the inside of Matt Johnston. So hard to call this now. so much going on. So they go really wide, both of them. John Walker's having a look as well as Matt Davis goes down the inside. Oh, John takes out Dave Rose. Matt Johnston's going to come back through and take the both of them. So John got that wrong on the brakes, went into the side of them. Sorry, Matt Davis didn't take the lead. He's taken second place, but he's got that move done finally, Ross Parker, and now he's got 2.5 seconds to try and chase Stephen Pohl down, who's just got out of all this action and just settled down into a rhythm, and he's got himself that nice cushion, so he's got a good lead to try and defend now. And he'll probably try and save them push to pass as well, I would imagine. You can afford to let that gap come down a little bit if you've got some of them boosts left up your sleeve for later in the race. So let's see, Paul Ayo is probably going to be looking at making a move soon as well. Just seen your message, Ash. I would check Sim Racing GP, but I thought it was going to be this weekend that we started. We'll find out soon. Come back to this race for now. So this battle for second raging on. Ross Parker not been dropped at the moment. Thought Matt Davis would maybe start stretching that gap. Doesn't look like it. In fact, the gap to the leader is actually increasing. Stephen Pohl doing a great job so far. Really controlling this. Oh, Matt Davis in fact went wide on the exit there, so since he's got past Ross, he's not taking advantage of that. And Stephen actually electing to use some boost on that lap, so maybe thinking he can just stretch that lead out as far as he can. Yeah, minute 1.2 is a good lap time, to be fair, so I think even you know, Paul and Tom and that of this world, if they are able to get through this pack, by the time they do, I think that lead's going to be insurmountable by the looks of it at the moment. All in the train. I would say that Ross is holding all these guys up, but not really at the moment. Matt just started to get those few extra car lengths. As Paul looks to make a move, Tom's also on the attack, so Tom getting impatient, gets on that boost early, so Tom's had a really good drive. Coming out that corner, he should have some slipstream as well. He goes for a late lunge, thinks about it, shows his nose, can't quite make it happen. There's a bit of contact between Paul and Ross Parker there, so Ross Parker is sent out wide, but he keeps in front of Paul, and Tom is going to take full advantage of that as they go 3 wide through turn 1. I think Tom should be able to get himself in front. Oh, there's a little bit of contact as Ross completely cooks that corner. He's going to have to... Oh, as Rob takes out Paul Ayo. That was Rob Fowler on the brakes. He got that completely wrong, and he's just absolutely shunted Paul off into the gravel and the wall, so I do imagine there's going to be some repercussions for that. And that has allowed Matt Johnston to maybe have a look. He gets tapped again by Rob going into that corner, so that's twice we've seen where Matt has gone into that hairpin on the outside and he's just had that little tap which has sent him sideways. Rob with the late move there on the brakes, sticks the nose down the inside and gets itself past Ross Parker and up into 4th place. Matt Johnston's looking to take advantage as well, but Ross manages to cover that off on the apex. Don't want to break away from the moves at the moment. I want to show Steve at the lead of this race, but yeah, I don't want to miss anything at the same time, so sorry Steve. Doing a brilliant job out front, still got over 2 seconds advantage, despite Matt Davis using his push to passes to try and get back to you. There's Matt Johnston on the outside. Ross not going to give him all that room. They're going to probably ask fast side by side down the straight. Matt is trying to use his extra boost, and Ross in fact is already down to 1, so Ross has been using his as much as he can to try and defend for all this time. So I think it's only going to be inevitable before Matt is able to met this move stick. He's going to go the long way round, try and square that corner off on the exit. Again, not quite able to make it stick. The side by side will be on the inside for this corner. The car slides. Ross will cut back. Can Matt keep the momentum on that outside despite the mistake? He doors his long side, and that will be him through. Just in time before Dave Rose comes to join the party as well. Just thinks about that move again. Not able to get it done. So that is Matt Johnston through into 5th place now then. So he'll straight down that start-finish straight. So we'll have a look at Steve. Still got that 2.2 advantage. He's doing 1 minute 1.2, so he was actually 2/10 quicker that lap than Matt Davis. Tom on a 1 minute 0.9, so Tom flying round, doing some great laps. He's still got plenty of boost left to use as well, Tom, so he can, I think he's certainly got an opportunity to try and catch up to Matt Davis. And try and force a move and get himself into 2nd. Which would actually end a good night for him, a good solid consistent night. The 3rd, a 2nd and a 4th would be a great way to start his championship. Especially taking advantage now that Paul Ayo's down in 8th place as it stands. Matt Johnston a few places behind him as well. He'll be able to claw back those points that he lost out on in the first couple of races. Go on to lap 11. And close by, so Tom just creeping up towards Matt Davis. Dave Rose looking at Ross in the background as well. Paul is catching those guys. Just a little bit further back, so that's Harrison and John Walker having a battle there. Swapping positions. John is going to go wide. Harrison nips back through on the inside, and that's Ben Hanks just off the back of these two guys. Whether he can... he goes a bit wide there as well, so he's going to have to come back on. He's probably going to lose out on that left-hander as well. So take the final cut. He's just understeering a little bit wide again there. Ben, who's successfully had his first flying lesson today. So soon to see him in the skies on a regular basis, no doubt. Oh, that was Dave Rose making a move past Ross Parker, and Paul Ayo is going to follow him. Ross electing to just use all of the grass and rallycross it rather than sticking to the track, and Dave going wide has allowed Paul through. And Paul is able to get that car back in front before the next turn. So, oh, Dave looks like he, unless he's waiting for Ross, there might have been... That looks like he's waiting for Ross after some contact, so, excuse me. That's good sportsmanship, good driving from Dave. We do appreciate that. Has dropped them both behind Paul, but there's only so much you can do. So Paul up into 6th and behind Matt Johnston, so that's probably going to be Paul's final position now, you would say. Unless there's a major mistake from someone in front. Anyone else going to be able to make a move. So Matt Davis with 1 boost left on this penultimate lap. He's still 1.8 seconds behind Steve, so you would say it's unlikely that he's going to be able to catch him. It's just whether Tom is able to gain any further on this lap. Tom has 3 boosts available to him, so whether he uses 1 on this lap and maybe 2 on the next one. He's within half a second, is he? Not quite. He's going to be close though. he's saving his final boost for that last lap, and can't say he's to blame him. Tom is on the way. That gap is now under half a second as they're coming on to the final lap. So the final lap is started now. Tom's still a couple tenths quicker on that lap overall, so Matt Davis just got to defend for this one lap. Go through turn 1. Is Tom going to use that extra boost? He isn't. Let's go through the next corner. So Tom 3 tenths off, getting closer and closer. He needs a really good run through here to get as close as possible into the next hairpin. He has. Matt Davis had a little bit of a scruffy exit there. Tom's going to make that switch back, get on the boost early, which he has. He's on really, really early. He's already started to close up a little bit. Matt also using it, but Tom's slipstream and boost. Is he able to make a late charge? He certainly tried it, but Matt held out then. And it will be Stephen Pole that comes across the line, as I get that completely wrong. So that was Tom and Matt Davis. Sorry, it's out of focus. Rob Fowler in 4th, Matt Johnson, Paul A.O. Ross Parker holds on to 7th in front of Dave Rose. We've got Harrison Full and John Walker and Ben Hanks rounding out the grid. It's a really good finish from these guys. Good race, that one. Steve getting to the front of that pack, minding all the squabbles whilst everyone was fighting in those early laps. Got that big lead and was able to just maintain it throughout the course of the race. He takes his first win of the series, so excellent result for him.